Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a review of a horror film from the UK. This is in the English language, released in the year 2012, directed by Dominic Brunt, and this film is called Before Dawn. Now, Before Dawn starts off with a couple. They are going through a crisis in their marriage. Things aren't going well. There's a little indication that there could have been a little bit of infidelity in this marriage, so they're trying their best to patch up what could be salvaged, if anything can be salvaged. So they drop their kids off to the grandmother and they decide to go to the very remote countryside in England to stay at this cottage for the weekend. So they get there, but things aren't going very well. You can tell that the tension between the two could be beyond salvation, but they're going to try absolutely everything. So you've got Dominic Brunt's character, who is trying absolutely everything. You can tell that he is a likeable person, but then you've got the woman, the wife, who seems likeable also, but the problems that are never gone into seem to be, holding them apart. So things aren't going as planned, but then things are going to become a lot more complicated when one morning the wife decides to go out running. So she goes running, and this is where she comes across this person who is covered in blood and seems to be absolutely hysterical, and this person is chasing her. So she tries to run away, and the person grabs her and bites her. So she has no idea what the hell's happened. She beats him off, and then she runs to the cottage and she tells the husband what's happened, and the husband is absolutely hysterical himself, and he wants to know just what's going on because he sees that it's a ghastly bite mark on her leg. So her condition is deteriorating rapidly. So he wants to know what's going on. He's trying to call on his mobile, but everything seems to be cut off. So he's in a panic and he decides that he is going to try and get home. But then he realizes that whatever happened to this woman is happening on a broader scale. So he has no idea what's going on, and his wife is getting sicker and sicker, and this is where he is going to have to try and come to terms with what's just happened, and it's a lot more horrifying than he first thought. So what happens from this couple from this point on is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now, my thoughts on Before Dawn. I really like this movie, but I see a lot of people hating it because it does bill itself as a zombie film. And yes, it is a zombie film, but it's not of a traditional sense. So if you're expecting zombies left, right and centre, you're expecting buckets of gore, then you're going to be bitterly disappointed, because this movie is more of a romantic drama with a few zombies in it. And I thought that worked well. I thought it created something a little bit different. And what gets you the most is the startling realism of the film. I thought the dialogue between the two in the first half of the film was great. I thought it was a fly-on-the-wall experience. It is a movie that delves into the problems of a relationship and how these problems and the outside influences can have a deeply, impact on a struggling relationship. So I thought it was very real. The characters were very likeable. Nothing was exaggerated. It actually felt like a little bit of it was improvised. So that strong sense of realism does get to you. And when the zombies kick into gear, you don't get an overall impact of the situation. You feel that everything that is happening inside this cottage, and you're oblivious to the outside situation, which I think can be a lot better than a movie that does show you a broader scale of the devastation. So in a lot of zombie films, you've got the city, in ruins, you've got burning buildings, you've got people running for cover. But in this movie, it's not that. It's just two characters stuck in a situation that they have no idea what's going on. So you're using your imagination, and that to me is far more terrifying than actually seeing something happen. Now, it is a very low budget movie, and I actually thought it played to its strengths. I thought it was very intelligent filmmaking because it doesn't have a lot of gore, it doesn't have a lot of zombies, so the makeup wasn't really required, the gore effects weren't required a lot, and so I thought it does play very smart, and it does pay respect to the audience because it's not trying anything cheap. There is no CGI in the film, and it doesn't need it. Once again, it doesn't bite off more than it can chew, and I always like that from a movie that is self-aware. That's self-aware, it knows what budget it has, and it's not trying to pull anything too extravagant. And that to me is a sign that this is a filmmaker who really knows his worth. So it is a character drama. I thought the characters were really well drawn out. It is very slow burning, so if you're waiting for the zombie action, you're going to have to wait for a good half hour or 40 minutes. But when the zombie action starts to happen, I think that there are problems, and the problems of the budget do come through in the action sequences. I thought it's very shaky cam, and you don't see a lot of what's going on. When the attacks happen, they're very ferocious, but the shaky cam does disorientate you. And I found myself becoming very frustrated because I wanted to see the impact. And it is a very bloody film, but there are moments in the action sequences that become more a distraction than it was a progression of the film, because I just found myself thinking, just hold the camera still, I want to know what is happening. happening. I want to know the sheer impact of this terror. And yes, you could feel the terror in the attacks, but as I said, that shaky cam does get in the way a little bit. There are moments that are very, very gory. Now, there is a moment inside a garage, an attack inside of a garage that was really intense, and it left me feeling panicky. So I thought the intensity, the sheer intensity of the confrontations was very good, but as I said, that shaky cam does become a little bit frustrating. The ending is what got me the most. It is one of the most grim endings I have seen. There is a shot right at the end during the credits that was incredibly haunting, and it just struck me. And I thought that this was an incredibly emotional film, and it didn't really show that until right at the end. And I thought it goes down the road of a typical French film, and by that I mean, you know, the grimness. You know, it's not promising a fairy tale ending. And I thought the ending was just a great way to cap off what was a very impressive little film, and it does have its problems, but thankfully there are a lot more positive than there are negative. So if you're going into it expecting a typical gore fest from a zombie film, you're going to be disappointed. But for me, I really liked it because it provides something different in a very tired subgenre. It could have been easy just to go down the massacre path, showing the city absolutely in ruins, but it doesn't. It's more a case of a human drama with a little bit of zombie in it. So the outside influences coming upon this house that is basically besieging an already troubled relationship between two people. So I really liked it. I'm sure a lot of you out there will as well. But be careful, because it is going to split opinion. Some zombie fans are going to really like it. Some zombie fans are going to really hate it. For me, I really liked it, and I thought it was just something a little bit creative, as I said, in a very tight subgenre. So overall, for Before Dawn, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I really liked it. Go out there and see it. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.